I have to say it's extraordinarily refreshing to be able to do a review for a new movie, a relatively new movie anyway. And it's extraordinarily refreshing to do that review and find out that the movie doesn't suck. The movie I'm talking about was recently released on Prime Video a few weeks back, and it's called The Vast of Night. It was the directorial debut of Andrew Patterson, and it stars Sierra McCormick, Jake Horowitz, and a bunch of people who you probably have never heard of before, but that is not a bad thing. The film takes place in the town of Cayuga, New Mexico, in the 1950s. It's the night of the big high school basketball game, and all of the residents of the town, including a young switchboard operator and a young radio DJ, don't have much going on, until they hear a strange audio frequency that could change their lives and the lives of the people in their town forever. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this movie is the best movie ever, because it's not. And I'm not even going to try and make it out to be the best movie of 2020, because it's absolutely not. But I've got to give credit where credit is due. This is a damn impressive example of how you can make a good movie with very little money. This movie was apparently the feature directorial debut of Andrew Patterson, and apparently was also the first feature film that a lot of the people in this film worked on. And it was apparently made for a very small amount of money. It was definitely less than $1 million, according to the sources that I have picked up. And while to you and me $1 million is a lot of money, when it comes to making a sci-fi movie, or any movie for that matter, that's not a lot of money. That's extremely low budget. But they take what is at their disposal and they make a movie that looks like it was made for so much more. For one thing, the performances by the unknown actors, particularly the two leads, are actually really good, and I can't wait to see what these two lead actors do next. You can tell that the director is doing whatever he can to make this movie look as good as possible, and he utilizes some very great cinematography. There's some camera work in this movie that's really inventive. There's this one particular shot that I just can't get out of my head that takes us from the switchboard and then takes us throughout pretty much the entire town, to the high school, up through the high school basketball game, into the bleachers, outside of the window of the high school, and all the way to the radio station. And I'm very impressed that they pulled that off. The story of this movie isn't anything we haven't seen before. It's nothing new. But it knows that, and it pays homage to a lot of films that have done it in the past. I mean, the movie opens as if it's like an Outer Limits or Twilight Zone-like show episode, and it pays homage to that as well. But what's different is how it tells the story. It's almost like instead of throwing it at us and telling us, okay, we're right here, this is what these characters are going to go through, these are our characters, we're going to have a giant conversational scene where we're up close and personal with them, the movie kind of operates at a distance and lures us into the proceedings. For example, the opening scene of the movie follows our two main characters, and I really do mean follows. Most movies would have us have a lot of up-close and personal scenes with our main characters to establish who they are and get us familiar with them. But the camera is pretty distant from these main characters, and basically we're just following them around as they talk to each other. And we pick up glimpses of who they are and what they do through their conversation. And there's barely any close-up of them. There's a lot of space between us and them. It's from a distance. And then, by the time we actually do get up close and personal and there are close-up shots of these characters, it feels like it's a lot more because you already know who they are. It's a really interesting technique. The movie lures you into things like this, and it drops hints at what might or might not be going on throughout. And it's little stuff like that that really helps the proceedings. Now, I do have to admit there are some pretty big weaknesses for the movie. For example, the sound design and the music overall are really good, but at times the music can get a bit repetitive. I'll admit that. Not that I didn't like hearing it, but sometimes it did get a little annoying hearing the same musical choice over and over again. And another weakness of the film, in my opinion, is the ending. While the ending's not bad, I didn't really think it had that gut punch that the build-up of the movie warranted. With that being said, the movie is still worth checking out. especially if you're somebody who wants to get into filmmaking. This is a great example of how you can make a movie cheaply and actually make that movie worth something. One of the things that I do have to admit is a little bit strange though, is that I looked at the trivia page and actually watched a couple of other reviews before watching the movie. Basically because otherwise I don't think I would have heard about it. And that's the thing. I feel like nobody's talking about this movie, and they should be. Honestly, the thing that really throws me for a loop is how many festivals rejected it. Like, this movie is not bad. It's actually really good, especially considering the budget it was made for. And so many festivals didn't even let it in. And, I mean, film festivals have different rules, and sometimes a movie can be good, but it doesn't fit with the theme of the festival, which I could see how that could have happened with this movie, but at the same time, it is weird to see how many festivals rejected it. It seems like it should be a festival darling. Don't go in expecting the greatest thing ever, and don't go in expecting this wild, big special effects extravaganza. But if you want to see a pretty refreshing take on the genre, go ahead and check it out. Alright guys, that's it for today's review. And it's definitely not my last one. Keep your eyes peeled for more filmic content coming from me soon. Thank you very much for watching, stay healthy and safe, and I'll see you guys later.